Panther Metals is focused on mineral exploration in Canada. It's just sold its entire holding in ASX-listed Panther Metals Limited and terminated its Manitou Lakes option. Is this all about streamlining and rationalisation? I'm delighted to be joined by the Chief Executive of Panther Metals Plc, Darren Hazelwood. So Darren, the Australian entity had just announced the discovery of gold nuggets. So was this the best time to dispose of your entire stake in the Australian business?
Yeah, absolutely it was. Those discoveries are great. But ultimately we're in a market and those discoveries provided liquidity to allow us to exit our position. Because the thing that I 100% focused on is the drill bit for Panther and the things that are going to move our needle substantially and provide the returns for our investors. And the best way to do that was to liquidate that stake, use that capital to drill the North Shore of Dotted Lake. And regarding Manitou's a lovely project, but it's very early stage for us, and everything else we've got is drill ready. And also we are now totally critical minerals focused. That potentially has implications further down the line with the work we do with Mel Sanderson and accessing the potential to access government funding in North America. So everything is strategic and with good reason.
We'll talk about Mel Sanderson's appointment in just a minute or so, but in terms of the capital that you've raised from the disposal of the Australian holding, I've calculated £219,000 from that sale. But how much sort of working capital have you got as a whole that's going towards the drill bit?
In total, we expect probably just over 50% of that will go directly on the drill program. What you've got to remember is that the infrastructure's in place there. We put in a trail 8 kilometres long years ago. This project has direct access to main roads all around it and logging roads. It's very, very well situated. In fact, that would be one of the reasons why we're so focused on that at this stage as opposed to a bonga, because it does provide the low-hanging fruit on just about every metric you can envisage.
Okay, so when you say that, we are talking about Dotted Lake. So why drill Dotted now?
The opportunities there. So I've been quite vocal in the fact that we've had interest externally for the project. Without a discovery, they are never going to be at a level that really can produce the returns that the risk capital invested into the company via our investors would produce. You know, I'm not looking. We're an explorer ultimately. We're a greenfields explorer. Our focus and my focus is on managing the risk reward dynamics that are around that. And the best chance of us having a fundamental change to the business is by making a discovery on a project that we own 100%. We've got no underlying financial instruments, and that is exactly what I aim to do. Without a discovery, the deals that you're potentially talking about are at what I would class a lower level. You may be giving away 60, 70, 80% of the project for an investment into the project of maybe $1 million or $2 million. And frankly, Sarah, at this stage of this market, that doesn't have a lot of interest to me. I understand the potential on the share price in the short term. Almost that heroin hit of doing a deal. We don't lack for the opportunities of doing deals, but what we have got here is the extremely prospective project in a fantastic location, and we should be the ones that take that forward to the next stage. We get the discovery, then the world opens up even further for us. So we'll make decisions accordingly post that. But give me that problem.
Okay, because I was going to ask you why there have been no deals with Dotted Lake. So what are the timelines for Dotted Lake now? When does the drill bit get to work?
The drill bit gets to work this week, and we would expect to start seeing core by the end of this week. The program probably will go on until early November. We're drilling 6 holes, around 1,200 meters. We've got 4 targets within that. We've got 2 holes effectively that we can choose on site where we're going to allocate those, and that will very much depend on the core that we're seeing coming up from down below.
Okay, so is it just Dotted Lake that you're concentrating on? Because you said that 50% of what you receive from Australia is going towards Dotted Lake. Is there other elements of the portfolio which is cash hungry?
Our focus is on Dotted Lake this autumn. Well, obviously today or on Monday we've announced a big soil program at Dotted Lake as well, and that's to support the drilling. Should we be successful with the drill bit, we will now have the additional information required to enable us to carry on through, potentially over winter if need be. This is a 365 days a year access property, and it gives us the optionality on the project. Our focus, we know what we're looking to do next in terms of a bonga, but and we'd maybe look at starting that around the end of Feb, early March. But there are other aspects that I want sorted before we do that. Before we push forward there. So yeah, you've got to treat these in their entire unique to each project and uniquely to what we're doing, and on post discovery, if we've had an interest before discovery, should we be successful with a drill bit, then I'm not going to corner the business in terms of what we'll do next at Dotted Lake, and what we won't do. But what it will do is provide lots of optionality, and I will proceed forward where I believe the best value for our shareholders can be obtained from.
Okay, so that's pretty hypothetical at the moment, but something that has occurred in person is the appointment of Mel Sanderson. What value does that appointment bring to the company?
Oh, Mel's an amazing lady. She has a black book to die for in terms of connections in Washington, in America. We are a critical minerals focused company now, so that gives us access to the IRA funding, etc. But what we've decided to do with that is just pause and see what happens in America on November the 5th. If you get a change of administration, you may get a change of approach. So you don't want to necessarily jump in there now. We believe that the Harris administration will continue on its current path, and that's fine. And if the Trump administration gets appointed, then that could have impacts on the funding that's available to critical minerals explorers via the American government. So again, we have all of our ducks lined up. We haven't pressed the button, but that's due to external factors that we're certainly not looking to get involved in. But we'll know more post November the 5th.
So what funding is available to you now? Because there's no purse left in Australia. Manitou Lakes suggests to me that there's rationalisation, and then you had a share consolidation in June, which resulted in a huge uptick in the share price. So I'm wondering what financial vehicles are left in the bag for you.
Oh, we've got more options than most. A lot of my work has been built around opening up those avenues over the last 12, 18 months, and then actioning them accordingly. And that's how we've been able to we've issued stock in the market once in over 2 years, and that was for a relatively modest amount of money. We've got many options, and we've touched on the critical minerals funding that's available in North America. We've obviously got the standard market in the UK. As a business, we've investigated flow through capital, which is highly advantageous to existing shareholders. I would encourage people to review that. We've done work with linking the UK tax authority to the Canadian tax authority via PwC. that's all in place. That's a button we can press. To give you an example, Dryden Gold raised recently on flow through. Their price was around 15 cents. They raised at 18 cents. And the back end was covered at 13 cents. So it's not highly dilutive to existing shareholders. It's a mechanism that the London market needs educated on, and I've got to take it on my back to start that educational process. But it's not something we're going to be doing immediately. And we've obviously got holdings, external holdings still within the business, and we have the potential for industry coming in and showing an interest in what we're doing. Certainly Dotted Lake and actually Bonga, and we'd have more options than most. And basically, the route that I go will be the one that I feel is most effective and offers most value for existing shareholders. The problem in London, of course, is that unlike in Canada, where you can announce and then do your road shows and educate the market, or in Australia where they suspend, in London you have to do this live, and it's not something we're looking at doing in the short term either. There's just no value out there for existing shareholders, and everybody knows I've done my damnedest to protect existing shareholders. I'm one of them, and I will continue down that route. And let's see if the drill bit at Dotted Lake gives us more optionality than even we've currently got. And our options currently are should not be sniffed at. Look at Canada. Canada offers a lot of value to an explorer that's got a discovery. I've been over there 3 times this year. We've got a really good network in Canada. But as the business sits at the moment, we would be a small fish in a big pond. But if you get a discovery, you become a big fish in a small pond in Canada. So we'd probably like to look at going over there on the back of something substantial. But then, of course, London becomes a different marketplace once you've got a discovery. London has a massive skill set in terms of that. Once you get off of the bottom rungs of the market, you get to that 20-30 million pound market cap and go forward. You've got a discovery. So London offers optionality as well. What I won't do is pigeonhole us and give exact steps forward, because if you do that, then you're a fool.
Okay, I can hear the rallying cry there, and also I'm picking up sort of hints that you would consider a TSX listing once a discovery has been made. 10 weeks left to the end of the year. I know that drilling is a 365 day affair, particularly where you are situated. But what will happen over the next 10 weeks before year end?
Well, look, we've obviously got the drill program ongoing. We've also just announced the start of the soil program. We're only paying for 50% of that. We've got a third party that I can't go into that's funding the other 50%. That's going to expand our knowledge and our understanding, because remember, we now, with the work that Abitibi Geophysics done, we understand more about where the structures are and how those structures sit, and we know that the soils, anomalous soils along this belt, and remember the Tycho belt's like 20 kilometres long. We're looking at an area about 5 kilometres long with a lot more condensed and higher grade in soils, and anomalous copper, nickel and cobalt. And we'll be looking at getting the soil programs completed and getting those numbers out as well. So between now and Christmas, you look at drill results, soils. We'll be able to provide more colour on a bonga and where we're going with a bonga. But, over the next few weeks, our focus has to be on Dotted Lake and the potential transformative drill program that we're conducting.
Many thanks. Darren Hazelwood, Chief Executive of Panther Metals Plc. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah.